let's go into the fights that were announced for the first Fox card following UFC 200, because we had 2 of them officially announced. One is basically all but set in stone, but hasn't been announced by the promotion yet. Holly Holm and Valentina Shevchenko is the one that hasn't been announced yet, but that will be headlining UFC on Fox 20 in Chicago at the United Center. Always a great venue, always a great atmosphere. Holly Holm, Valentina Shevchenko is the headliner on a card that features Anthony Rumble Johnson and Glover Teixeira, as well as Edson Barbosa and Gil Melendez.
Yep.
Before we get into anything, is it a little weird that Holm Shevchenko is headlining this card?
To me, yes.
Okay.
I mean, again, if I'm like, but I mean, and, you know, I've been, you know, listening to other people kind of talking about this and everything, and you know, and when I first saw it, I'm like, why, you know, she's going to fight this, you know, who's 1-1 in the octagon and things like that. It feels like, again, I think where my issue lies is with the talent pool, as far as they got good name talent, but they don't market a lot of this talent. So you don't know some of this talent. So when you see it, it looks like they're just throwing people in just to make fights.
Yeah, like we know who these people are.
Yeah, but a casual,
but the fans,
it's just like, who? Wait, she was a champion last show. Now you have her fighting somebody who's 1-1. Nobody understands that some of these, you know, they got good talent. They just don't market all their talent. They market only certain individuals. And I think maybe that's where my issue is when you look at some of these fights is, I guess, the sex appeal, the sexiness of them doesn't show to a casual fan. And these are going to be on the channels that your casual fans will be tuning into.
Mm-hmm. They're banking on Holly Holm's name selling this fight. That's why she's headlining them. That's definite number one.
Yeah, but I think like more people would know Rumble Johnson. Well, again, maybe not casual fans, but you know, most anybody that knows MMA.
Fox cards before.
Yeah,
he did in the last one in Newark. So it's a very weird setup because Holly Holm, obviously, co-main event headliner with McGregor in the fight against Miesha Tate. Headlining against Ronda Rousey. Holly Holm's name definitely deserves to be up there as a headliner or a co-headliner for a pay-per-view. I have no problem with her headlining a network television card. The problem is she's fighting Shevchenko, who just lost to Amanda Nunes in a fight that honestly, that was on that same card at UFC 196, that honestly wasn't very impressive. Now, she beat Sarah Kaufman, UFC on Fox Orlando this past December. She's 1-1 in the UFC. She's 12-2 in MMA. I just think this is a very weird, for her to get headline billing with not doing all that much in the UFC. And I know Holly Holm's only had 4 fights in the UFC. Like, we forget about that. Like, she had the 2 fights, then she fought Rousey, won out of nowhere, and then lost to Miesha. So she's kind of jumped up.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what I'm saying is like they kind of just market the people as they make a name. Holm would still be on the shelf if she didn't shock the world and beat Rousey. Let's be honest about this.
Oh, completely. Like she wouldn't nearly be this. I mean, she was a media darling after beating Ronda, and now this is like if she goes like we still don't know how good Holly Holm is, even after losing to Miesha Tate. We still don't know how good she is. That was the whole.
Yeah, I think you saw like you see the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Her first 2 fights was like, whoa, no way. Then you saw her put it all together against Rousey, and then you saw her kind of take a step back against Tate.
Yeah, it's just a weird setup for me, especially with Rumble Johnson and Glover Teixeira on that card, because the winner of that fight is the new light heavyweight contender. I mean, if John Jones beats Cormier, the winner of this fight fights John Jones, probably at Madison Square Garden. That's the way I see it, just set up.
And then that's Cormier the undercard.
Wins, then they'll do Cormier Jones 3. But Rumble Johnson and Glover Teixeira is a fantastic, I'd pay for that as the pay-per-view headliner. Like, take my money.
But again, I think where they look at it is, look, we're not casual fans. We'll probably watch any fights that we can watch.
Yes.
But they think that, the casual fans don't know Rumble Johnson, Glover Teixeira. So we got to throw the Holly Holm on this, like the frosting on the cupcake. And it's things like that where now you have this fight that to me just means nothing. I mean, if Holm wins, okay, she's expected to win. She loses, and what? I mean, it just doesn't. Again, and maybe it's me being spoiled by, years of wrestling and everything else like that, but I always think the main event should mean something. There's a reason you're the main event, not just because you're a household name or you're the darling or you're the girl next door or, your fight means something and it's going to lead into something else, which is what the Rumble Johnson fight does.
Absolutely.
Whereas Holly Holm and them, what's next for them? We don't know.
And it's funny because, as you mentioned, whoever wins at 200 between Jones and Cormier should be sitting cage side for this. And then there's ways to market this and there's ways to do it. And it seems like the UFC is failing in that department. And Conor McGregor joked about, why is my belt not on the poster? And they'll throw these things out, like when he was supposed to fight Rafael dos Anjos. But these are the little things that the UFC is missing.
Well, I think what they do is they do great with individual fighters, but they miss on the event. Yeah,
it's weird. I don't know what it is. And this is, like we said, the sport's never been healthier. The sport's never been better when it comes to the level of talent in it. And they're just it's just a weird look.
But isn't it funny that they say no fighter is bigger than the UFC, but all they do is really build up the fighter, not the UFC event? Yeah. It's almost like they go backwards on what they're saying. Yeah.
It's weird. I don't like it, but
marketing
that card, that UFC on Fox card in July is pretty awesome, considering the fact that you get Rumble and Glover Teixeira and Edson Barbosa and a returning El Nino Gilbert Melendez.
I'm not saying every card is bad. Again, maybe I misspoke because now that I'm thinking about it, but I just think that a lot of these cards, and again, you get this one right after UFC 200. It seems like there's spots where they're it's almost like for anybody listening to us here on the Full Mount MMA podcast, that WWE, when you get around WrestleMania, things are going to happen. That Raw after WrestleMania, is going to be good. It's almost like, okay, there's our UFC 200. Well, now the next event after UFC 200, we got to make sure we stick that one. But then what happens to the next event and things like that? As it goes down, it seems like you get these events where it's just what is this?
Yeah, I mean, they are for certain, there's an up and down. They have to market and do what they want to do with the calendar and the way it shapes out and everything, because they have all these dates and they have all these things that they want to hit, but they don't want to spread themselves too thin. And that's what they're in danger in with overloading. I mean, I think through July is an amazing setup. I disagree with you completely. You get UFC 198, which is possibly as big as 200.
Well, no, I think the UFC,
anybody
the pay-per-view events, but this event tomorrow.
Okay,
the event tomorrow. Are you? We're recording this on a Saturday. I apologize for anybody that the event Sunday.
Yes.
Nothing there. I mean, there's some matches that are intriguing.
There's two fights to me that I care about in this card.
Okay. All right, and I'm sure we'll discuss them in a little bit, but I'm just saying there's nothing there that's going to make me, if I didn't know anything about the UFC, even as I'm turning through the channels, go, let me watch this.
Really?
There's not. No.
Okay.
Orlovsky and Overeem, it's just nothing there that just says, hey, all right.
Well, how about this? Anybody listening to the podcast right now, you can tweet at us at the Full Mount. Any questions you have, next time we'll talk about it. We'll answer. We'll talk about the UFC's direction of where they want to go after this fight, because there's a major pay-per-view next weekend with UFC 198. You can subscribe to the podcast. If you just found us on YouTube, you found us on Podomatic, you found us on the internet somewhere, you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Just go to the podcast app, search TFM Live, comes up immediately, and comment, review us, rate us, do all that good stuff. Let us know what you think about the UFC's direction, what they want to do with UFC 200, all that good stuff, because that's what we want to find out, is how do fans, if you're one of these hardcore fans or when you're one of these casual fans, like, oh, the fight's on, cool. We want to get your perspective on these things. So let us know in the comments on the podcast, on YouTube, at The Full Mount on Twitter, all of that good stuff.